Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to Orrdle Retro. So you guys really liked the first episode, and I was like, might as well just do a couple more of these just because you guys had a lot of fun with it. Like, it actually got more views than my typical NHL videos. So we are going to be going back with some Orrdle Retro. Last episode, basically, we did 2010-11 all the way back to 2007-08. So today-wise, we are going to do 2006-07, and after that, we're going to probably go to before the lockout, that type of thing. Depends how fast we could get through these, because I realized in last episode, I spent more than half the episode trying to guess Nate Thompson. So I'm going to try and get through this a little bit faster than normal, just because that way we can maybe do some more years in this episode. So let's start off with 2006-07. As I did in last episode, I do have the standings open so I can see the divisions a bit more easier, just because it changes too frequently, kind of like in the 90s and stuff like that. So I just want to know if I have the divisions accurate and whatnot. So let's start off with 2006-07, and let's do what we did in last episode and just continue using Stanley Cup finalist players from each team, just to kind of know which conference it is and that type of thing. So we'll start off with, let's go with Dany Heatley, just because he had his 50-goal season this year, so might as well. And that doesn't help us at all, but we do now know that he's a Western Conference player and that he's a left-handed shot. He's older than 26 years of age, less height than 6'3" and 212 pounds. So he's not a big guy. It seems like he's probably a smaller guy or an average-sized guy. And yeah, we know that he's not a left winger. So let's go ahead and guess somebody from the Western Conference from the Anaheim Ducks, I guess. So Solani's a right-handed shot. So we probably want to, maybe we could guess a left-handed defenseman always. So if we're going to guess a left-handed defenseman, I got to think of somebody on the Ducks. I'm going to go with Scott Niedermayer. I think he's a left-handed shot, if I'm not mistaken. Might as well go with the captain of their team at this point in time. And it is a left-handed defenseman, okay, and in the Western Conference, but not in the Pacific Division, which means we are limited to the Central Division and the Northwest Division. So I think I got to guess with Nicklas Lidstrom again, because Nick Lidstrom, I'm pretty sure, is a left-handed shot. He's in a different division in the West, so might as well go with the captain of the Detroit Red Wings in Nick Lidstrom. And that doesn't help us out at all either. So he's not in the Central Division. That narrows it down just to the Northwest Division, which means we got either Vancouver, Minnesota, Calgary, Colorado, or Edmonton. Interesting. But he is 6'1". He's younger than 37. We know that. He's older than 26, which means he's between 27 and 32 years of age. Interesting. Okay. Doesn't really help us out yet. We need to find out which team it is in the Northwest Division. So we're going to have to probably throw out a random guess here. So let's guess somebody on the Canucks. Maybe Matthias Ohlund or something like that. Is Ohlund a right-handed shot though? I don't remember. I'm going to guess Ohlund for fun. Just because we don't actually have to... Actually, no, he's not, because it's not a Swedish player. It's not a Canadian or a Swede, so it's probably an American defenseman on one of these teams, which means more than likely they'd be on an American team than anything, so either Minnesota or Colorado. Who's an American defenseman on those teams at that point in time? I don't really know, so I might just have to guess another random defenseman, even if they're Canadian or not. On Vancouver, any American defenseman I could think of? Was Rory Fitzpatrick on the Canucks? I think he was. Let's go with Rory Fitzpatrick for the memes. And he is in the Northwest Division, but that is not right. So he's not on the Canucks, which means he's on one of these four teams. He's not an American either, which means we do have a European player. So was Philip Kuba still in Minnesota at this point in time? I'd like to say he was, but I'm 100% sure of that. I'm going to ask Philip Kuba. Even if he isn't, we might be able to figure out if it's a Czech player or not. He's not a Czech player, but he used to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Interesting. So if he used to play for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but now he plays for one of these four teams, who could fit that category is the thing. I think there was some Edmonton defenseman that played in Tampa Bay, like what's his name, Matthew Waugh, but he's from Canada. He's not a Czech. He's not a Swede. He must be like a Finnish defenseman. Maybe. I'm trying to think. Any Finnish defenseman that played for Tampa Bay? Not that I could think of. Oh man, this is going to be a really tough one to start us off with. Let's just guess a player from the Flames, like Robin Regeer, just to see if it kind of narrows it down just to the Flames, and it does, okay. So we know that it's a Flames defenseman that's left-handed. He's not from any of these countries. Oh wait, I think I might, no, he wasn't there at that point in time. Tony Lidman would have been in Buffalo, because he's a Finnish defenseman. It could be other countries too. It could be actually Russia too. So a Russian defenseman that played for Calgary and for Tampa Bay. I don't know if Zuzin played for Tampa Bay, did he? I think he might have. It could be Andrei Zuzin. It is. Let's go. Let's go. I didn't remember if he played for Tampa Bay or not, but I knew he was with the Flames at this point in time, and he's Russian. He's not one of these countries, so that was a pretty good guess. So we started off with a 1-for-1, which is nice. Last episode we went 2-for-4, so hopefully this episode we could get a little bit better, but that was a pretty good guess. Because, like I was just saying, he basically fit the bill in terms of being a Calgary Flames player, and then also being from a country that wasn't here. So, but he just didn't really play that much games, I'm pretty sure, with the Flames, but still, pretty good guess to start us off with. So let's get to 0506 now. Like I said, I'll try and get through these a little bit quicker than I did in last episode. That way we can maybe do more than 4 seasons in this video. And then if you guys want to see more, I could honestly do one of these every single week or something like that, just for something different. So for 2005-06, we'll start off with some more Stanley Cup finalists. So let's start off with Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7. And that doesn't help us out really a ton. He's a right-handed shot, but he is in the Western Conference, older than 24 years of age, does not play right wing. Do we want to guess another right-handed defenseman? You know what, since Sergei Zubov threw out some good stuff for us in our first episode, let's bring in Sergei Zubov because he does fit the bill right now. And okay, that does help us out a little bit. He's a Russian player that shoots right, and he's not in the Pacific Division. So let's go to 05-06 standings, just because that actually could help us out in terms of how good the team was at that point in time once we figure out the team. So he's not in the Pacific Division, but he's a right-handed player that doesn't play right wing or defense, so he's probably a center or a left winger, but he could be a right-handed goalie, which there's not really a whole lot of, I'm pretty sure. So if we're looking at divisionally, it's either one of these 10 teams the player plays for. And he's not a right winger. He's younger than 35, but older than 24. Who do we want to guess? Maybe Thomas Holmstrom? No, it's a Russian player, though. It's not Datsuk. Because Datsuk wouldn't... Actually, Datsuk could fit in that range, but I don't think Datsuk's a right-handed shot, is he? I think he's a left-handed shot. I'm going to just guess Pavel Datsuk, just because he's the only Russian I can think of right now. I don't think he's a right-handed shot. No, he's not a right-handed shot, but he is 27 years of age, this next player. So he's either a left winger or a defenseman or a goalie. So we still got 3 different options, and he's not in the Central Division, which narrows it down just to these 5 teams again, which is kind of interesting. So a left winger. Oh, wait. No, actually, no, he's not Russian. I was going to say maybe Marcus Nilsson, but Marcus Nilsson, even though he was a left winger that shot right, or a right winger that shot left, one of the two, he's not from Russia. A Russian player that plays for one of these teams. Who fit that bill? Chubarov, I don't think, was in Vancouver still at this point. Who else could be a Russian player that fits in this bill on one of these teams? There's not really a whole lot of Russian players that I could think of for these teams for some reason off the top of my head. Vancouver-wise, I can't think of a Russian, I don't think. Might have to just guess a random left winger. Yeah, let's just guess a random left winger just to see if it is a left winger. It could be a defenseman, to be honest. Oh, it is a left winger. Okay, that makes it a little bit tougher. He's not on the Canucks, though, so that narrows it down to 4 teams: the Flames, the Avs, the Oilers, and the Wild. So a left winger that shoots right, the opposite-handedness, and he's from Russia. Yeah, this one's actually kind of tricky. Might be somebody on Colorado. But who was a Russian player that played for Colorado? Not really a whole lot of those, I'm pretty sure. Edmonton. And we'll guess a random player on Edmonton if he's there. Just that's Russian. Yeah, let's just guess Grabeshkov. No, that doesn't help us out at all. I guess he got traded that year. I forgot about him being an Islander, because I was hoping that it would show us if he was an Edmonton Oiler or not. We only have 2 more guesses, so this is not going too well, this one. We still don't know which team he's on. If we could figure out the team, it will help us out a lot. A left winger that plays for one of those teams that's Russian. Who would be a Russian player on one of these teams? I don't think the Flames had a lot of Russian players, but we just got a Russian player on the Flames and Zuzan, so I'm guessing it would probably be one of these two teams or this and Minnesota. I'm trying to think of a bunch of people that have the last name that has OV at the end. Oh wait, could it be that? No, that's a goaltender. I was gonna say could it be that guy, but no. I was thinking of Vitaly Kolesnik or something like that, but that guy's from like Kazakhstan, I'm pretty sure. Let's just guess a random Avs player just to see if it's an Av or not. Dany Heatley, since he fits the right wing, or not the right wing portion, but the right-hand shot. He's not an Avs player, so that narrows it down to just Calgary, Edmonton, and Minnesota. Let's try a random Edmonton Oilers player like Semenov. Was he there? I don't think he was. I'm gonna guess him anyways. Oh, he was an Oiler. Okay. So it's a Russian player that plays for the Oilers on the left side, and he's a right-handed shot. We only have one more guess at this. So I'm trying to think of who was on that Oilers roster that went to the Cup Finals. There's Igor Ulanov, but he was a defenseman, obviously, so he wouldn't fit the bill. I gotta go through their jersey numbers off the top of my head if I could think, because I don't really. Oh, Sergei Samsonov. It's Sergei Samsonov. I forgot he was an Oiler in that year that they went to the Cup Finals. He used to play for the Canadiens and stuff like that around this point in time, but it's got to be Sergei Samsonov because he does play left side and he also does shoot right. There we go. Let's go. We got it on our 8th attempt. So there's 2 for 2 today, which is kind of a surprise. But yeah, that one was a little bit tricky at first because when you get a left winger that shoots right, it's kind of hard to think of who. And then especially on the Oilers at that point in time that's Russian, it's like there's not really a whole lot, but I completely forgot about Samsonov almost. Okay, so 2 for 2 on the day. Let's go to 2003-04. So we're now before the lockout. So this is where it's gonna probably start to get tough, I'm guessing. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. This is like one of the first years that I became like a fan, really. Well, the second season, I guess, because I became a fan late in 2002-03. So let's guess Vincent Lecavalier to start us off with, because we're going to continue with the cup winning team trend. And oh wow, okay, are you kidding me? We already know that he's a Tampa Bay Lightning player that's a left-handed shot that's older than 24. He's not a centerman though. So it could be Martin St. Louis, because I don't think St. Louis was fully right-handed, was he? He's not Canadian, no, so we need like maybe an American player that plays for Tampa Bay, or it could be somebody like Ruslan Fedotenko. Let's guess Fedotenko because he had the clutch game performance, and that doesn't help us out at all. Either he's not a center or a left winger, which means he's either a defenseman or a right winger. He could be a goalie too, so it could be Habby Bullen. Let's just guess Habby Bullen just to throw a goalie out. For why not? He is a goalie. Okay, so who's the backup goalie to Habby Bullen? It is John Graham, I think. Unless it's somebody that barely played. Oh, it is John Graham. Okay. That one was actually a lot easier than I expected. We got that in like 4. Yeah, we only got that in 4 attempts because we got the team right off the bat somehow. Good that I go with the cup winning team trend, it seems like. Yeah, once it was said that it was a goalie and it wasn't Nikolai Habby Bullen, the only other option I could really think of is John Graham, because I'm pretty sure they didn't really have any other goalies at that point that were playing in the NHL. Like, they might have had some that played a little bit, but not that frequently. So wasn't sure if it was John Graham or not, but that's a pretty good start. We're 3 for 3 in this episode, so let's see if we can keep that trend going in 2002-03. Since we're only like 14 minutes into this video, we might be able to get more than 4 years done since we're doing so well. Okay, so 2002-03, we'll start off with Paul Kariya, just to continue with the Cup Finals teams. And are you kidding me? What is this? I wish this was like scripted or not, but holy crap. Okay, we just already guessed that he's an Anaheim Ducks player. Once again, we're continuing with the Cup winning team trend. So he's a player that plays for the Ducks. He's older than 28. He's a left-handed shot. He does not play left wing. He could be a defenseman, so we could guess somebody like who's on that defensive core. Not Havlid, he's a right-handed shot, I think. Ruslan Saleh, I believe, could be left-handed, but I don't think so. I'm going to guess Saleh anyways. Rest in peace to that guy. He is a defenseman, okay, but he's not Ruslan Saleh. So a defenseman on that defensive core that's not Canadian or Belarusian. Means he could be an American defenseman, or he could be from a different country in general. We could just guess Havlet. I think Havlet's a right-handed shot, though. No, Havlet was left-handed, but he's not him. Who else is on that defensive core in 2002-03? I know 2002-03 quite well in terms of player rosters, so who else was on that defensive core? Turnka would have been dealt by now, I think, for Matt Cullen at that point, so I don't think it's Turnka. Or actually vice versa, Turnka might be there. I'll guess Turnka because why not? No, it's not Turnka. Yeah, he was dealt to Florida already by that point. I thought so. Who else is on that defensive core though? Jason Marshall, I think, but he was a right-handed shot. No, actually, he would have been in Minnesota by then, so it's not even him either. Okay, it could be Sandis Ozolinch. I think Ozolinch was there still, right? Yeah, I think it could be Ozolinch, it could be Olsson, but Olsson's a Swede, so it can't be him. It's not Ozolinch either. So we got 3 of their defensemen, but we do not have the right one currently. So it could be a guy that barely played. So who barely played on that defensive core? Yeah, this is going to get tough because we've already guessed 3 of their best defensemen. I know for a fact it's not Olsson because Olsson's from Sweden. He's not a Canadian. He's probably an American, which means it's probably... Who's an American defenseman that played for the Ducks? Got to go through like the jersey numbers in my head as I normally do if I can, but I can't think of all the jersey numbers in the top of my head. Yeah, that defensive core is very interesting. Trying to think. Oh, I think I know who it is. It's an American defenseman, Keith Kearney. Keith Kearney, does he fit the bill? He does fit the bill, but he's not the right defenseman. He's an American defenseman like we were thinking. We have 2 more guesses. We've guessed 4 of their main defensemen, and we still don't have it. So we started this one off pretty hot, but we still can't figure out who it is. Who's an American defenseman other than Keith Kearney? And he's between the age of 29 and... Actually, no, he's 29 years old because this is 1 year older. This year's down there, so it's 29 years old. Which means, what is 2003 minus 29? Let me just do some math on this thing just so we can kind of figure it out. 1974. That's an odd year. Wait, 1974 plus 18. No, not that. I want to do 1974 plus 18 is 1992. So it would have been drafted in 92. This is what I'm getting at. Or 93. That's pretty tough because that's a really early year Anaheim Ducks drafting. Oh, no, he's not American. I was going to say Tverdovsky, but he's a Russian. We know that he's 6'2". We know that he's heavier than 212 pounds, so a big defenseman. The only big defenseman I know is Ruslan Saleh, and he's not Ruslan Saleh. Lance Ward I think is Canadian, but I'm going to guess him anyways. I think he was dealt already by this point. No, he wasn't. I don't know why it's listing him as a right winger because he played defense as well at points. So he's shorter than 6'3". We knew that already. He's less than 214 pounds, but heavier than 212 pounds, which means he's guaranteed to be 213 pounds. Who could it be? I'm going to go with Jason Marshall, even though I'm pretty sure he was in Minnesota by now. This is probably going to be our first one that we get wrong, but let's go with Marshall. And it's not him, it's Chris O'Sullivan, okay. I didn't realize Chris O'Sullivan was even in Anaheim at that point, because this guy I'm pretty sure was like a Flames defenseman in like the 90s. But yeah, that was our first wrong one. 6'2", 213. Well, at least we got pretty close in that one. Like, we could have honestly gotten him, but they decided to go with a defenseman that barely played in the NHL over one of these guys that have played a long time in the NHL, so that sucks. There's our first wrong one of the day. We'll probably do one more, just because why not? We'll do 2001-02, unless we get this like in the next minute or so, but let's do 2001-02. So since I did a roster build on this, I should notice here quite well. Let's start off with somebody on the Carolina Hurricanes this time. Like Ron Francis, maybe? Okay, that helps us out a decent amount. I actually didn't even look at the divisions for the 2003-04 and 2002-03. I just realized, so that's kind of funny, but that's because I guess the team's right off the bat somehow. So 2001-02, we know that he's in the Eastern Conference and in the Southeast Division, so that's actually going to help us out a good amount. Because now we already know that it's limited down to a specific amount of teams, and that's within one guess. So if we go by division, we know that he's in the Southeast Division, but he's not a member of the Carolina Hurricanes, so he's a member of one of these 4 teams. And he's younger than 39. He does not play center. He's heavier than 200 pounds, but shorter than 6'3". Interesting. So we could guess who's on the Caps at this point. He's a Canadian player as well, though. That might help us out a little bit. Vincent Lecavalier is a center, so we can't guess him. Who do we want to guess? A Canadian player? Maybe... No, Nathan Horton didn't play yet, right? It was until 2002-03 that he was playing, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Who else is a big guy? We could just guess a random player from one of these teams. Yeah, let's just put a random player from one of these teams. Maybe actually Dany Heatley could fit into this category, right? Because of his size. Okay, that helps us out a little bit. We know that he's an Atlanta Thrashers player, but he's not a left winger or a center, which means right wing, defenseman, goalie. Older than 21, and he's a Canadian. So he plays for the Thrashers, who were really terrible that season, only 19 wins. We could guess a random right winger on the Thrashers to kind of help us out, maybe. Or a random defenseman on the Thrashers. Let's guess a random defenseman, like Chris Tamer, because why not? Okay, so he's not a defenseman, but he is 6'2". We guaranteed that, so that's good. I was kind of guessing that anyways, just because of the weight category, because usually guys that are over 200 pounds are always like 6'2" and above. So he's not a defenseman, which means he's probably a right winger. He could be one of their goalies, but I don't think so, because I don't really think they had any tall goalies, because they had like Defoe, they had Nurminen, they had Helenica, and those guys are all like not from Canada, so I don't think it's a goalie, which means it's probably a right winger. Could be Jeff Odgers, maybe, the guy with the handlebar mustache. He is a right winger, okay, and he is a right-handed shot. We already knew kind of that though. So we know for a fact he's a right winger that's 6'2" on the Atlanta Thrashers, and he's not Jeff Odgers. Who else was a right winger on this team? This is like during the bad years of the Thrashers. Like, well, they actually had all bad years, but still, like, this was one of the worst years of the Thrashers, probably. Who else is a right winger on that team? Maybe Tapper? Was Tapper a right winger? I think so. He was a right winger, but he is not him. So it's not Tapper, it's not Odgers. Who else was a right winger on this point in time? Do we kind of know his age range? Younger than 24, but older than 21, so that means he's either 22 or 23 years old. Which means, let me do some more math. 2002 minus 22 is 1980. So 1979, 1980. And if we do 1979 plus the 18, we know that he was drafted in 97 or in 98, but obviously the expansion. He would have been drafted probably... He could have been drafted and then picked up off of the expansion draft. It could be somebody like Hanat Dominic Kelly, maybe. I don't really know how old Dominic Kelly was in this point. Oh, he's not even there. Oh no, he is there. Okay, let's see if it's Hanat Dominic Kelly. It's not him. I forgot that he's now listed as a Swiss player, even though he was born in Canada. Just because he played a long time in Switzerland. He was already in Minnesota by that stage. Who else is a player that played for the Thrashers in these days? It's really hard to think of their roster because of, like, a lot of those guys probably barely played. What about his weight range? Heavier than 212 still. So you should get somebody that's like big in weight. So let's guess like Andy Sutton, because why not? Okay, so less than 245 pounds, which is kind of to be expected. I have no idea who the heck it is. We only have one more guess left. I might do still one more in this episode just because this one's kind of tricky. We want to go off on like a good note, you know. Who's a right winger that plays for them? Because Kovalchuk is obviously Russian. He was he would have been really young at this point. I can't honestly think of somebody off the top of my head, I don't think. Ray Ferraro was a center, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's Ray Ferraro, because I think he was already retired kind of by then, or in St. Louis. So it's not Ray Ferraro, because I know Ferraro was there for a bit. Who else could it be, is the question. 21, 22, 23. Honestly, I have no idea who this is. So I'm going to have to just throw out a random Thrashers players. So who do I want? Oh, wait, maybe Jeff Cowan? Yeah, you know what? We're going to go with Jeff Cowan. I don't know if he was there at that point, but last guess. And no, it wasn't. Oh, Francis Lessard. Okay. I know who that is because he played for the Sens for a bit in like their AHL affiliate and whatnot. Okay, I know who that is at least. Yeah, but I didn't know he was a right winger, so that kind of is why I didn't know who it was. But Francis Lessard. Pretty big guy. Okay, let's do one more just for fun, just because we're like around 26 minutes. Let's just do another one from 2001. Try and go through this one a little bit quick. So Colorado and New Jersey, right? So we'll guess Ray Bork off the top of our head, because why not? And he's a left-handed shot, but he's not a defenseman. He's not in the Western Conference. So let's just go back to this again, swap this over. But not too bad so far today, I think, for this episode. We've started off really hot. Last guess was a little bit tough, but still not too bad. So we know that he's an Eastern Conference player. We know that he's not a defenseman, but he's left-handed, obviously younger than 40. So I think it was good that we guessed Ray Bork, because now we know that for sure that he's a younger player. Or actually, like, he could be anywhere below 40, which most players are at this stage, though. So left winger in the Eastern Conference in 2001. Yeah, this is going to start probably getting pretty tough, my guess. We could guess a random player from the New Jersey Devils. So let's guess like Patrick Elias, maybe. See if we could get that. 2 episodes in a row, we guessed literally on our second guess, and I don't even know how I guessed that. How is this even possible? Like, I honestly don't even know how I guessed him right now. Because, like, this just literally makes no sense. Like, literally. I don't even know how I'm guessing this. Like, because I just literally continued the cup-winning team trend with Ray Bork. We knew that he was a left-handed shot. So, Patrick Elias was somebody that was like, oh, left-handed shot on the Devils. I'm like, okay, might as well guess him. And then I'll tell us it's an Eastern Conference or if it's the right division. And it turns out it's right on to beat Patrick Elias. So, 2 for 2 in terms of ending an episode on a very good note. But yeah, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Orrdle Retro guessing series. So, if you guys want to see more, drop a like, let me know as well down below if you want to see more for sure. And I'll probably do like some 90s ones and try and get ourselves back to 92, 93 eventually. But I think it's probably just going to get a lot tougher from here on out. But let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.